Hello and welcome to our channel, How We Move the Decimal. In the video today, I have ramped up to another tub, and I do believe this is tub 78 for me, and I'm continuing to photograph what was in the tub. Most of it, again, came from an estate sale, an online estate sale, and that was in our death pile. A grand majority of this came from our death pile and our money pile, whatever you want to call it. If you list consistently on eBay, eBay rewards you with sales, and we have been listing more consistently this month, and eBay has been rewarding us with sales. But it's also been difficult to get stuff done. I work several jobs. My husband works a full-time job. We have children, and children have activities. We have a cat. Apparently, he's going to start some activities. I have no idea. I'm just waiting for it because we're all in something. He's the least demanding member of the household. But with this, what we're selling on eBay is not a full-time income. I am not selling this to replace my job. My husband is not selling on this to replace his job. This is just to help it not hurt as much when our kids want to, play a new sport, or, somebody has a cavity or a doctor's appointment, or we need lab work done, or hey, we need a foot x-ray now. This just helps it hurt less. Summer camp season's approaching. I'm recording this at the very beginning of April, so those of you that are parents out there know that it is the time to be registering for summer camps, and summer camps are wicked expensive. Just this last week, one of the colleges I worked for announced that they were permanently shutting their doors. This is a well-established college. This kind of came out of nowhere. We were not given any heads up. We're just told that at the end of May, they are shutting down completely. And that was half my income. So I did take a hit. Do I think I could replace that with eBay? No, but I can make it hurt less. But it's things like this where I don't want to say thank God it was my job, but it hurts, but it doesn't devastate our family. And unfortunately, what's going on right now is a lot of families are being devastated. Several of my colleagues, this was their full-time, family-supported, had, insurance through job. For me, it was a part-time job, but it was half of the income I bring in for a year. So that's scary. Again, it hurts, but doesn't devastate. And I do have eBay, and I can ramp up selling on eBay. And I even discussed it with my husband, like, what does this look like? Am I applying for other part-time jobs? I'm not comfortable right now applying for full-time jobs while my kids are still young and the big virus is still around. The only thing that really saved our butts as a family when this started, when all the shutdowns and everything started, was me only working part-time. So I was staying at home with my children. I was teaching my classes, but they were also in their classes. And if I had had a full-time job, that might not have been possible. I might have had to quit just to take care of my children when we had the lockdown start, because our school, unlike other schools in the area, we stayed locked down for a full year and a half. This is our first year back at school, so fall of 2021 was our first time back in person at school, and I could not have kept any form of sanity. Not that I was sane during this time. I don't think anybody was sane. But I could not have kept any form of sanity had I had a full-time job at the time. And of course, like all of my videos, my cat has to come and chill out and tell us what's going on, what's up. He's so nosy. And his favorite part of things when I photograph them are sheets. He loves sheets. He gets wrapped up in them. I am testing the elastic on that sheet, and the elastic was just trash, so I ended up not using that. And one of these pillowcases, I think, has a hole in it, so I ended up not using that. Again, my cat makes it very difficult to take pictures, but he's adorable, and my kids love him. So he's ours forever. My oldest son asked how long cats live for, and I had a very wide range. I'm like, well, I don't know, Google it. And he came back in, he's like, some cats can live to be 25. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, who gets to take the cat with them to college? And I was like, nobody. He's mine. Nobody can take him. But so back to the job thing. Sorry, I get so sidetracked. But back to the job thing. I made it completely through COVID pretty undamaged job-wise. My husband took a couple more hits from his job, but nothing like he still kept his job. Like it was nothing scary like that, but it was like furloughed for 2 weeks and no pay increases and no matching in retirement and stuff like that since COVID happened. Where with mine, I was pretty much status quo, except for almost all of my classes were moved online. So this is my first big hit since the pandemic started employment wise. Granted, I could get a full-time job, but I don't feel comfortable with that yet while I have my children are still really young. And I could be called at any minute and be like, so and so barfed, you need to come pick them up. They got sick at school. I've had to come a couple times since the beginning of the year. I've had to go a couple times to the school because they got sick, and I'm planning on going on a really large field trip with my son that involves me being out of town for a week. And I couldn't do that if I was working full time. So I do like the flexibility of my schedule. I am a little anxious about the loss of income, but it was scary how quick it came. And it was scary for my bosses and for my friends that I knew that I've been there a long time. And again, this was a very well established college. It wasn't like a fly by night um, situation. It's very old, and it hit everybody out of left field. And they told us all in a Teams call, and I'm it was sad because people were like, what's going on? We got called into a mandatory meeting. They told us to cancel our classes and to come to the meeting, and it was just sad. And people had their cameras on. It was like, turn your cameras off. We were watching people essentially get gut punched, and some whole families relied on this place to work. It was, it's in a small town. That town's going to take a hit from not having it there. All of the students that, still have to graduate are taking a hit. It's scary. And this is the closest it's come to me. I've watched a couple other private universities and private colleges close in the past couple of years. One closed like right before COVID started in our area. And then COVID came, so they probably were like, well, we would have had to close anyway, but it's scary. And then coming from a higher education standpoint, anyway, we are seeing such decreases in enrollment where we used to, fill classes and now it's hard to get 12. Or there used to be multiple sections of a course and now there's one. So we're seeing that hit hard, which makes me feel even better about having eBay as an option. But it is terrifying. It is terrifying when you think about it and how the impermanence of it all doesn't mean that, other jobs are out there. But I guess like the scariest part about all of this is like they were still hiring people up until the day they announced they were closing. Like people were getting job interviews. I mean, I would have hated to have been hired like last week and then be told that they were shutting down this week, especially if you'd left a job for this job. So the impermanence of it is scary. And we all work in my husband and I work in a very similar field. So if I'm getting hit, his area is probably going to feel it also, which is, again, scary. But I'm glad I have this as a backup. It will never, ever be a full-time income for me. I would love for it to be a part-time income, and I only work one place instead of 2 or 3 places. I did put out several applications that day. So we were told on a Wednesday, I was expected to teach my class Wednesday night, and I was putting in job applications by Thursday. But unfortunately, if you've ever worked in higher education, we've missed the hiring for the fall. That usually takes place into January through the month of February, and the fact that we weren't even told till right before April, we kind of missed hiring for fall, which is unfortunate for, especially for my colleagues that need the full-time jobs. For me, honestly, this is gonna hit money-wise. You know, I have to buy the off-brand of food, or, you know, not drive as many places because gas is really expensive, as my car is close to empty right now, and just the cost of gas is crazy. Here for us, the cost of gas is still around $4.30, where it's cheaper in other areas. In this right now, I'm photographing silk scarves. I like to grab scarves. Most of these were polyester. They weren't silk, but they were vintage. I do like to grab scarves, especially if it's like fill a bag or they're very cheap. Again, this came from an estate sale. They just had a Walmart bag full of scarves at the estate sale, and I think I only paid $1 for it because, again, online bidding. But that was really nice, and I think I'm only selling 1 or 2 of them. I think I only have 1 or 2 of them listed. Some of them had cigarette burns in them, which is unfortunate, or discoloration, or snags in them. All of those, it's not worth my time to do it. This scarf was really pretty, but it didn't have a label on it, and I didn't want to mess with it. I like them to have labels, so at least I know what they're made out of, even if they don't have a name label, if they have a label. This says like 100% polyester, 100% silk. One of these was, okay, it was that one. It was just had so many little rips and tears in it, which was really unfortunate because it was one of the ones that would have been worth more money. When I say more money, I'm like $15 to $30. The cat's back. He needs to inspect what's going on. Everybody's petting the cat. Oh, he's looking at the camera. He's living his best life. I ended up not listing these because they had no buttons in the fly. So it was just a big old open fly on the bibs, and I do believe they were hemmed. So I ended up not listing those because they had too much stuff done. Now, if they were just missing the buttons, I might have listed them with like buttons missing, but the fact that they were missing buttons and I couldn't tell if they'd been hemmed, I decided not to list them. My husband is listing an Orvis hat, which has already sold before I even make this video. It sold for asking price probably about a week after we listed it. It is a fly fishing hat. It's really fun. And then I have this lovely fanny pack that is vintage, but unfortunately for me, fanny packs are making a resurgence. So it's easier to find them. You could, like, I was looking at Walmart today and they had fanny packs. So it's not something that's like as hard to find. Now, if you want it like a true vintage fanny pack, it could be hard to find, but this is the true vintage fanny pack. It almost feels like a tablecloth. It's like very windbreaker feeling. I don't know. It's a very 1990s material. Like if you touched it, you'd be like, oh, this is the 90s. It's very 1990s material. But I'm giving Dylan some scratches because he's a good boy. He's the best boy in our house. But I will let you go here, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and we'll look at the other ones we've made.